It's my pleasure and honor to introduce a friend and of Kiwanis, and certainly a personal friend, J.R. Zenner, ag instructor at Western Hills High School. J.R. will tell us a little about the chapter there, and then he will be introducing our actual other participants in the program today. Again, welcome everyone, and thank you, J.R.
Thank you.
I certainly want to give a special thanks to Fred. He reaches out to us every year, and one of the highlights of our program of activities at Western Hills is to spend time with community members, and I think this is a great cross-section of community members that are invested in the youth of our community, and so it's an honor for us to be here once again. Appreciation to all of you, but Fred really, he's tenacious. He contacts me every year around the same time, and he works my phone over until I actually answer, so thanks Fred. And sometimes I'm a little hard to get a hold of, but thank you. My name is J.R. Zenner. Mr. Schaefer and I are both the ag teachers at Western Hills High School. A little bit about agricultural education programs in our community. To start with, this is National FFA Week. And so nationwide, over 500,000 youth in our nation are celebrating Ag Ed's importance in their lives. Ag Ed is a career and tech program in most high schools. It's also available in several middle schools now. In fact, Bondurant has an FFA program that boasts about 250 members. And at Western Hills, we boast about 236 members. If you've not been to Western Hills, our student population is around 850. So Mr. Schaefer and I see over a fourth of our students at Western Hills each day, and they're engaged in an intercurricular organization. So Ag Ed is a one component of agricultural education, but the other two components are FFA, which is a co-curricular youth organization. So we actually do stuff that's related to FFA as part of our content at Western Hills High School. And the third component is an outside of class ag project that we call an SAE, or a Supervised Ag Experience Program. Mr. Schaefer and I, along with Mr. Douglas and Ms. Jackson at Franklin County High School, are four of the only teachers in our school district that get paid to teach year-round. And we are federally subsidized for a portion of our salary. And we actually go out to students' houses and farms and property and help advise them with their out-of-class ag projects that hopefully they generate from ideas of things they're learning in our classroom. Western Hills this is our 40th year as a chapter, and we're really excited to be here. I brought with me some presenters. I think you all like listening to some of our students from the community a lot better than me. And so we have a small presentation, and hopefully as you guys eat, you can kind of listen, and we would happily solicit feedback. Some of these young people are going to be telling you some things or delivering some speeches, and they're actually not only delivering those so that you guys get a well-rounded sense of what our students do in terms of their communication skills, but some of these things they're going to be doing are actually contests, and that they will be competing in March the 5th. So this is a great venue for not only them to deliver a message to you guys, but also to get a little bit more practice under their belt, and they're really excited. To begin with, I'm just going to turn this over to the Western Hills FFA chapter president. Her name is Bethany Fields, and she's also the Capital City Region vice president. Fred knows this, but we take leadership roles pretty serious at Western Hills. We currently, from Frankfort, have the Kentucky State FFA Association president. Her name is Haley Nelson. She's been here several times with you guys. So we're eating up leadership roles from top to bottom. So Bethany, if you'd like to come up here and share your message.
Good afternoon. As he said, my name is Bethany Fields. I'm the chapter president at Western Hills, and I am also currently serving as the vice president of the Capital City Region. First and foremost, I would like to thank you all for allowing us to attend today. And secondly, and most importantly, we're so thankful for the support that we receive from our community stakeholders. The Western Hills FFA chapter was established in 1980 with roughly 32 members, which now has grown to 232 members, each of which have been enrolled in agricultural education classes. Of Western Hills students, 23% of them are in FFA and in agriculture education. And counting Bondurant's FFA chapter, 1 out of every 5 West Side students ages 11 to 18 are being exposed to the agricultural industry every day. These members come from every type of social, economic, and ethnic background, and we at Western Hills celebrate the diversity shown through this organization. We believe that each member brings traits that shape the way our industry is running both now and in the future. Our FFA chapter strives to impact so many people in our community each and every year. We appreciate the support that we get from each of our community stakeholder groups, but when a group such as yours aligns so close with our goals, that partnership is even better. The National FFA organization focuses on premier leadership, personal growth, and career success to make a positive difference in the lives of students all across the country. This mission is used every single day in our classrooms, our community, and even throughout our nation. For us, this mission is absolutely everything. We strive to grow relationship not only with our supporters, not only to help others, but also to learn more about ourselves in the process. Events like Washington Leadership Conference and the Kentucky FFA Rising Sun Conference were ones that made a tremendous impact on how I viewed myself as a leader. Attending camp at the Kentucky FFA Leadership Training Center allowed me to meet FFA members from all across the state and produce my own exponential personal growth. Being exposed to the agricultural industry in classrooms allowed me to find my love for teaching others about agriculture. As Western Hills FFA members, this is what we find most intriguing and exciting about getting to know organizations like yours. You help our students understand the importance and sense of community, and you allow our students to learn the significance of service and goodwill. Thank you.
I'm thankful for Bethany for several reasons, but mostly because I got to eat my food while it was still warm. So thanks, Bethany. One of the things that we kind of take for granted is the capabilities of our students in terms of their communication skills. We're really proud of them, and over the last several years, you've probably noticed, for whatever reason, I tended to travel with a whole lot of female students to your all's venue. So it's with great pleasure today that I can give you a rarity in our program, which is a young man who's a very compelling speaker. Part of the National FFA, I guess, part of the National FFA program overall, as Fred alluded to, is based on earning rankings or degrees. So as a first-year ag student, you have the opportunity kind of immerse yourself into several things about our organization, but specifically, everybody might remember, if they've been in FFA, something called the FFA Creed. So today with me, I have Mr. Grayson Lawrence, and Fred's smiling over here. He's right here, this creed. Grayson's going to present the FFA Creed to you guys on behalf of National FFA Week from our chapter. So, Grayson. I don't want him to be married to a podium for you. We're going to get the full effect.
I'm Grayson Lawrence. I'm a Creed speaker for Western Hills, and that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to y'all. The FFA Creed by E.M. Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturalists, and the promise of better days through better ways, even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits is pleasant as well as challenging. For I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life and hold an inborn fondness for those associations which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in our own ability to work efficiently and think clearly with such knowledge and skill as I can secure, and in the ability of progressive agriculturalists to serve our own and the public's interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in the life abundant and enough honest wealth to help make it so for others as well as myself, and less need for charity, and more of it when needed, and being happy myself, and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you.
So Grayson actually had the opportunity to be exposed to the FFA Creed during his Principles of Agri-Science and Tech class with Mr. Schaefer. And from that period forward, he's actually been able to learn. It's only 5 paragraphs, nothing, right? He's been able to learn and master that, and he hopes to take it to the highest level, which happens to be at a national level for Creed-speaking freshmen across the nation. We've had a lot of successes, and I think that Grayson does a pretty good job of that. So appreciate you listening to Grayson. In addition to Grayson, I've brought with me a couple other speakers, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Olivia Moore. I had mentioned that SAEs are a component of agricultural education. So as you all, as we finish up today later, finish with dinner, you need to seek out Olivia Moore. She's my SAE, I guess, superstar right now because she likes to solicit people's money that they give away. And she's been pretty successful at it. Olivia, throughout the summer, owns her own business. She owns her own horticultural business, and she's currently in the process of building her own greenhouse. So it's kind of a cool deal. So you'll have to grab her and say, hey, let's talk business. But Olivia Moore is here today. She is doing a speech that we call an extemporaneous speech. Basically, she's asked to be able to give a speech on any 12 to 13 pretty important ag topics that are timely in what's going on. And today she's going to deliver a speech for you guys. So hopefully you all can enjoy what she's got to say. It's pretty good. Yeah.
So as Mr. Zinner said, my name is Olivia Moore, and I am a junior this year at Western Hills, so I'm going to give you one of my extemporaneous speech. Fresh, local, reliable. According to a 2009 Food Marketing Institute study, the top three reasons Americans buy locally today is because of freshness, supporting their local economy, and knowing where their products are coming from. In 2017, I began my business in SAE, More Goodness, as an entrepreneurial farm-to-fork produce operation so that I could serve my home community, and I focused on these 3 pillars. Not only has this allowed me to effectively provide for my local community members, but I have become aware of the time and dedication it takes to become a local farmer and agribusiness owner. Many may not consider the question of how I turned what was a small family garden into a business that now serves over 100 community members in my hometown of Frankfort. But it is through the tools and resources available for young farmers today that I'm able to achieve so much. Through various conferences, grant opportunities, and growing demand for local businesses, young people have a variety of outlets and opportunities to grow their operations and agribusinesses, much like my own. Conferences are a very valuable tool that allow our young farmers to be able to expand their knowledge and their resource banks. The Kentucky Farm Bureau's Young Farmer Leadership Conference is a conference that takes place here in our Bluegrass State every year. Young farmers and their families come together to engage in a weekend full of workshops, seminars, and being able to hear from experts so that they can go back home with a more clear outlook and ideas on how they too can improve their farms and agribusinesses. FFA has a new Century Farmer Conference that they do every year for FFA members like myself across the country. This conference is for 18 to 24-year-olds who are aspiring to grow their own agribusinesses and production agriculture. At the conference, they will discuss topics and issues affecting the agricultural industry, talk to experts, and come up with a vision for what their future goals are. Not only this, but it gives them an incredible outlet to be able to network with other aspiring production farmers across the nation. Grants are a way in which I have been able to grow my own entrepreneurship tremendously. The Kentucky Association of Career and Technical Education, Kentucky State University, and FFA are just a few of the organizations that have allowed me to be able to grow my own entrepreneurship. FFA specifically has been an incredible outlet for me to be able to tap into grant opportunities, one of the most recent ones being the Kentucky Shark Tank Venture Capitalist Grant. Last year was the first year of this grant application, and I was one of the applicants. And around this time last year, I applied for the Shark Tank grant. For the application, I had to submit an executive summary of my business plan, as well as submit a short video discussing to the sharks what I would do with the money if they were to invest in my small business. For me personally, I learned so much from simply the application process. Being able to come up with a clear and thought out plan of what I want to do with my business helps me just as much, if not more, than the actual grant money itself. After completing the regional phase of this grant opportunity, I then went to the state level and presented to the sharks of the competition. I was fortunate enough to be a recipient of this grant and received $5,000 to invest in my small business. Communities are showing a higher demand for the small and local businesses today. These higher demands are resulting in more resources that are opening up for small farmers. The USDA reports that there are 6 times as many farmers aged 65 plus as there are farmers aged 25 to 35 in the United States in 2007. With this in mind, young farmers have to be aware of the opportunities that are available to them so that they can not only be agriculturists and foundations for this nation, but also be able to provide for the community demands. Although conferences, grants, and increase in demands barely begin scraping the surface of the tools and resources available for aspiring farmers and agribusiness owners, these resources do show how accessible it is for a young farmer to carry out their dreams. In 2017, I never would have dreamed of having a business that provides just so many communities in my local community. And I wouldn't have dreamed of how much my fresh, local, and reliable produce would impact the members in Frankfort. This being said, young farmers across the nation have the ability to make the future of agriculture brighter than it ever has been before. Thank you.
I didn't mention this previously because I wanted you all to have one of those moments where you're like, wow. Olivia's particular speech contest that she works with, she gets 25 minutes to write that and then deliver it. And it's a 4 to 6 minute speech. Now, I'm sure she fudged just a little because she knew what was coming. But realistically, that was a speech she hadn't ever given. And so part of the contest is you have your 12 topics. You get to choose one topic from 2 that they give you that day. You write a speech in 25 minutes and you go deliver it. So that's kind of what you saw there. So very nice job. I think you can agree with me that Mr. Schaefer and I are very blessed to have a lot of good students. I just brought a few of them with us today. But at Western Hills, we are kind of blessed as far as ag teachers go because we serve students that have interest across the board and come from all sectors, as you can tell, of every sector. We'll just leave it at that. Great kids. I also brought one last person with me today. Gee, were you with me last year? 2 years ago. So now you can judge personal growth from where Gianna was 2 years ago to where she may be today, and hold her accountable, I guess. But Gianna is going to be delivering her prepared speech for you guys that she actually wrote. As far as FFA goes, one of the 2 most important speaking events are probably extemporaneous speech, prepared speech, and then obviously for freshmen, the creed. So that's why I brought these 3 speakers with me today. Gianna happens to be a junior in our program. She's our chapter reporter, and she has a pretty poignant message that I'm excited for you guys to hear.
First of all, I'd like to thank y'all. I came here 2 years ago, starting my FFA career as a Creed speaker, and Mr. Zinner liked to say that I was married to the Creed. However, I think we got a divorce because I gave it to Grayson, but he did an incredible job, and I like to think that this is where I started, breaking out of my shell to do prepared public speaking, and I hope that over the past 2 years I've grown a lot and can impress you with a message that really resonates with me and is something that we all need to hear. I walked through my local Walmart to pick up 2 self-declared essentials. 1, a pack of spearmint gum for school, and 2, 4 glass bottles of L8 to keep me awake during finals week. As I approached the abnormally backed up self-checkout line, I noticed a small family. A man in his early to mid-20s looks concerned, hesitantly searching for an employee's assistance. His wife, near the same age, holds their young daughter close, masking her discomfort with courage. The family does their best to divert any attention away from themselves, waiting on assistance to arrive. Concerned and intrigued, I can't help but step a little closer to gain an understanding of what is going on. A Walmart employee finally arrives and asks what the problem is. In a hushed tone, the father explains that his EBT card is not working. Confused, the worker asks for clarification, and I hear the words, "food stamps," barely leave the man's lips. Immediately, I see the Walmart employee riddled with feelings of discomfort and reluctance as she tries to piece together the right words to say. Seconds later, she whispers, "Let's step aside and figure this out," hiding a sense of shame she felt for this young couple. The young daughter looks up at her mom for reassurance as her mother nods and says, "Everything will be okay." Right before my eyes, I watched the family struggle to reach their next meal as I grabbed 2 non-essential items without a second thought about their price. I was startled to witness such a raw example of food insecurity in my community. I was ashamed to realize that I grew so accustomed to talking about worldwide hunger that I failed to notice the hunger around me. Despite the preconceived opinions I had about this food assistance program, I became determined to better my understanding of SNAP on a local level. I grew tremendously passionate about comprehending the pressing issue of food insecurity and injustice in my community. SNAP, short for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, is one of several hunger combating programs offered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Formally and most commonly referred to as food stamps, the program is intended to alleviate hunger and malnutrition by permitting low-income households to obtain a more nutritious diet through normal channels of trade, as stated by authorizing legislation. Today, this goal is accomplished through the issuance of monthly benefits in the form of electronic benefit transfer cards, or EBT cards, which can be used in grocery stores or farmers markets. As of legislation in 2019, the benefits for each family are determined according to the low-cost meal plan. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities explains that all of these eligibility rules and benefit levels are, for the most part, set at a federal level and uniform across the nation. Under federal rules, to qualify for SNAP benefits, a household must strictly meet 2 criteria. First, its gross monthly income must be at or below 130% of poverty. In the year 2020, that amount for the average family of 4 lies at $2,184 a month. In the year 2020, that amount is only $26,200 a year. On top of that, the household's income after deductions such as high housing costs and childcare must be at or below the poverty line. These general requirements precede a lengthier and much more complicated process of receiving adequate benefits to accommodate a family. Recent proposals are pushing to diminish food assistance programs for unemployed and underemployed people in areas with insufficient jobs nationwide. This legislation targets a specific group of individuals called ABODs. This acronym refers to able-bodied adults without dependents. These are commonly looked at as members of society who are capable of working for themselves and do not have children or disabled members in the household. These people have a floating stigma, which implies that they are abusers of the system, taking taxpayers' money to avoid working for themselves. In some instances, this proves to be very true. However, many of these ABODs are non-custodial parents depending on food assistance programs to feed their children that do not live with them. As hard as it is to admit, there are children who are not in control of their own well-being, going hungry right before our eyes due to such arbitrary rules surrounding the SNAP program. While we may find it difficult to push aside the resentment towards those who do not appreciate our hardworking farmers and our well-earned money, we must realize that we have a responsibility. That responsibility is to start the conversation about the true hunger that burdens many in our community. According to the USDA, as of 2018, approximately 599,000 Kentucky residents depend upon SNAP. More than 38% of these participants in Kentucky account for children alone. Nearly 1 in 5 of all households in our state are insecure or food insecure, with 33% of those households being ineligible for SNAP benefits. On top of that, 10,000 Kentucky residents have been forced out of the system, accounting for a small portion of the 750,000 citizens who have been forced out nationwide. All these numbers aren't simply just numbers. They are people. People in our lives who depend upon these programs to feed their families. To the member who can't afford the Blue Jacket, our organization answers the call with the Give Blue program. To the hungry in the streets of Washington, D.C., Washington Leadership Conference participants work as hard as they can to package 400,000 meals for Hope. We are constantly saving those who are calling for our help. As advocates of the agriculture industry, we are working as hard as we can to avoid worldwide hunger by the year 2050. We are doing all we can to be a voice. But what about the people right in front of us? What about the children who can't reach out their hand and ask for help? What about the people going hungry in our community because of unfair legislation and rules surrounding the SNAP program? Standing in front of you today, speaking to you at this very moment, is an FFA member who benefits off the SNAP program due to recent medical devastation in my family. While I may be more than blessed to live comfortably and eat 3 meals a day, there are people in our community who aren't as fortunate. Food insecurity isn't just the 9.8 billion people in the world that we preach about daily. Food insecurity isn't the farmer struggling to feed 155 people today instead of 26 people several years ago. Food insecurity is the people like me and the people like you who aren't talking about community members going hungry, children relying on school lunches for the best meal of the day, and the unspoken stories behind those who can't receive benefits that come with the SNAP program. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about hunger.
Of course, I'm speaking on behalf of my co-teacher, Mr. Schaefer, and all the teachers at Western Hills. But National FFA Week's a great week to celebrate. Jeff and I are very fortunate that we have a lot of students around us every single day that we can celebrate. And just to mind, I always find myself in the community somewhere in a slightly awkward conversation with someone about, well, what do you think about young people these days? And I just smile at them and I say, you know what? I don't think we have any issues, and that's my opinion. And I think some of the students I brought with me today will probably help secure that in your mind as well. Young people are very active trying to figure things out and preparing themselves to step into the roles that they're going to be asked to step into upon my departure, our departure, as we hopefully reach that retirement age. And I'm actually very excited about it but I'm lucky because I get to be around them every day, so they're always inspiring to Mr. Schaefer and I. The only other caveat I would say is, the first time I heard Gianna give that speech, it got me really emotional, very emotional. And that is another example of why Jeff and I are so proud of our students, because of the capabilities that they possess, the willingness to share what they've learned, experiential knowledge, etc. So we truly appreciate you guys having us, especially during National FFA Week, while we're busy celebrating and I feel like I don't get any time to sleep. But it means a lot. The community members continue to invest in young people in our community, and I'm thankful I get to speak on behalf of our school at Western Hills, on behalf of Franklin County High School's FFA program and Bonnard's FFA program. So thank you very much.